pre-set up live thing, but man, I've just been going hell for leather lately, and yeah, I think that should get most of what we need to get done. So I am prepping for heading out to amateur jade hair tomorrow on El Cajon Mountain, and replacing the Raspberry Pi that is the DIY packet forwarder. I try and say it every time just so it's semi-clear to you guys or to anyone new. This is from when the DIY program was open, and no longer open. It's been long closed, but this is it, Raspberry Pi 4, probably an 8 gig. And what happened with this one was, like a lot of these things, the SD card went out. So I've replaced it with a high, endurance card, and tested it here. Should be good. So what should happen is I should boogie out to the hotspot tomorrow. It's about like 5-ish miles in. Pretty rugged trail. And then put this thing on, plug it in, and everything should work. I don't see anything could possibly go wrong. And then the other cool thing that's going on here is that I am also going to be doing a thing where I put a weather station in that is part of the weather station that's kind of pre-existing out there. So I'll see if I can set this up so that both I can work and you guys can watch and everybody be happy with what's going on. One of the reasons I wanted to do this was, what's up, Mike? I get questions on, I think it's something along the lines of like, hey, is helium worth it anymore? Should you do this? Should you do that? Whatever. And I think, pretty clearly it's not worth it to do this stuff just for HNT, because not even a great hotspot is making a bunch. Although I've been kind of shown to be wrong on that. And yeah, I guess compared to what it was, no, it's not worth it. But where it is now, yeah. I think it is, just because this thing is going to be providing coverage for all these people counters out there and a bunch of other sensors that I plan on placing out there, that the whole thing is super cool. Okay, so actually, let me see if I can set this up a little bit differently. Oh yeah, I totally can. So I can see what the fuck is going on, and you can see it as well. That's much better. Minor disasters here. All right, sorry to the two of you that are currently watching, but we'll get this thing sorted. What is that in the way? Huh. Oh, I see. Stand by. There we go. Cool. One thing that I think it says something about being locked. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Huh. No, I'm not rotating the device back. There we go. Sorry. People are selling hotspots for $60. Yeah, they are. I think there's. I mean, it's no real sense in denying that. I bet if I set this thing up over here, this will be way easier for everybody. Sorry. So one thing I wanted to do today that I thought was pretty cool is go through not only what it looks like to do maintenance, but also how I'm improving my setup for these off grids. Because I think it's clear enough, but just in case. What I've done in the past is, you can see there's kind of a shit show on here, is that I always like wrap my stuff up in bubble wrap and kind of random, foam neoprene pieces. And that, I mean, that works pretty well, works well enough, a leaf from the last thing. But I thought today I'd do something cool and set up I'm upside down. Oh, thanks, Mark. Let's see if I can switch it. Let's see, at 6:15 is upside down. It's currently 6:15, stand by. It's saying that now I'm upside down. I don't know. Is it still upside down? Sorry. Saying orientation is locked. Switch device back. But you guys are able to see it maybe? It was fine before you switched. Okay, back we go. Stand by. Mark's trolling. Fucking Mark. What is that guy now? All right, cool. So I think we're back. We're seeing what we're supposed to see. Okay, so I've had like I wouldn't say it's a shit show. I mean, it does work, but it's kind of ugly with all the bubble wrap stuff. Okay, so I think we're good now. And I don't know, Mark, if it's just upside down for you or not for everyone else, but it's showing right side up for me, and I think we're good. So what I want to do was, a while ago for the Helium in the Wild trip, I had bought a foam cutter so I could cut out a bunch of foam and make all of this, kind of make like custom cutouts for like a suitcase, for a hard case. And I thought what I'd do tonight that would be cool, and I get to hang out with you guys a little bit, is to do custom cutouts for the weather station. Now this weather station is in two pieces. It is not a helium weather station. This is something that one of our local paraglider pilots 3D printed parts of it and then ordered other parts. Dude is a super geek and built, and this thing runs on LTE for pretty darn cheap. I think he's got it at $1.80 a month for every 4.75 seconds. So I don't know, maybe you can get a little cheaper than that, but that seems pretty darn cheap to me, and that's on LTE. So, but the dude's also like wicked geeky, way beyond any level I can barely understand. So what I thought I'd do is I make a cutout that will fit into my backpack. I've got a nice lightweight backpack here. Shout out to these guys, Mountain Laurel Designs. I've had this thing forever. This thing is ultra light. I've carried it a lot of places, and yeah, I love it. But yeah, I thought I'd make custom cutouts for the weather station and for the Raspberry Pi, and then when I get there I can just slide everything out, undo it. It's all protected pretty safely as I'm doing the hiking piece, and yeah, so that's what's going on. All right, and if you got any questions, I will see if I can catch them while we do it and answer them, because I know people got questions. All right, let's see if we can get this thing. I don't think there's any top secret in here that you shouldn't see, so I'm not super worried about how this sucker goes. But there is going to be some stuff where I'm down on the floor cutting this out. So first things first is figure out how wide the backpack is and what can slide into it. And so that looks like it's going to be, and I want it to go in pretty easily. I don't want it to stretch all over these cheeses. I'll bet if I do 10 inches, that's going to work super well. So now there's two, I think, really cool parts about cutting foam, and one is this guy. Let's see, is that this thing just slices through. It's a fucking giant knife, which is awesome. Let's see, so the 10-inch piece right here, and because it doesn't matter now what this thing looks like, no one's ever going to see it, is I can write on it in silver. And I'm just going to do a quick test cut at 10 inches wide to see how well that slides in, and it looks like that's going to work out super well, so that's about right there. I know where to get more of those. Try not to get silver on the old lips. And then back into this. Let's make it a reasonably straight cut. Dude, there's got to be something where I can run another screen or like an alert system for messages. So if you guys have something, I can pop up and see it, because shit, right now I'm kind of looking at this thing every 10 seconds. But what else? What else we got going on? We got Laura O'Toole from Drone Deck coming on to State of the Network this week. That'll be cool. Drone Deck is using helium. That's pretty rad. I'm psyched to talk to her. We had Carrie from, what was it, Baxis on week before last. And then we might get, see who else we can get on there that will be interesting to you guys and kind of useful, because that's, don't break that neck. That's always like the thing, is make it interesting and useful. Okay, so this was 10 inches across this way. I'll just write that so I don't forget. And we'll see how well that fits into here. Oh, that's going to fit in really well. All right, so I think the second part is making sure that this thing is thick enough to, it's not quite thick enough. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's definitely, there you go. That makes it obvious. I think I'll need two pieces. So what I'm going to do is cut out two pieces and see how well the two pieces slide in. Now that I've got one, we'll do another one, and that is kind of ugly there. I don't like stuff that's super ugly. So let's make a nice straight cut here. If we can. Where is the square? Just put it down. Cool. Yeah, what's going on with you guys? What's new in your world? I know there's a lot of questions about helium in general. See if I can keep an eye on the screen. In fact, I can probably bring this thing down. You're stoked for weekly validations. When is that going to happen? You know what I was just asking about, actually, that I didn't know at all, was this thing that, like, I don't know why I hadn't thought of it, is how is data going to get routed to hotspots once we go off of validators, right? Once validators are no longer working, how is data going to go from a hotspot to the right LNS? Because right now there's just one console, which is what Helium runs. But in the long term, there's going to be potentially a ton of different LNSs, like, you know, a bunch of chirp stacks or whatever it is. And so I was thinking, like, I didn't understand and I hadn't really thought through how that works. And so I was thinking through that tonight because I'm working with Dirk. I've got this pretty cool thing that Dirk worked on. What's that? The 19th, supposedly? Is that validators or something? Or a weekly validation, I think you're saying. Pay more attention when playing. I think that's good enough. I just didn't want that particularly nasty piece there. All right, careful with that, because that is sharp. And then let's do 10 inches in. And mark that. Finally gonna get rid of this slowly, getting down on this helium in, well, not this helium, well, yeah, this helium in the wild foam that I use for helium in the wild. Oh, you know what is really cool is Lee has got a video coming out that she's psyched on and I'm psyched on. That's I don't know if you can see this. If I shove this thing back, you can see it better. That's explaining helium, and I'll tell you what, if it had come out a year ago, it would have crushed any other helium explainer video. It's coming out now, so I think it's not going to be as popular as it would have been, but it's still pretty funny. So I think we're going to launch that tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. But that should be pretty good, because we're getting, I mean, we're still getting, it's funny. It's what, is it 2022, December 2022? And we still get questions from our family, like, what is this helium thing? What are you guys doing? What's this all about? Like, are you putting up cell phone towers? All of that stuff. And no. Kind of laying out the whole IoT thing, which is where most of my interest is. And I think it's just, I don't know what it is. I think it's mostly that it doesn't make a ton of sense to put a 5G tower way out in the wild because no one's really there. And it gets a pain in the ass to get to. I don't know, am I missing anything? What type of saw was that? That is, I don't know what this thing is called. What, can you read that thing? What is it? Sepco Tool Company. It's just a giant knife. It's like, every time I look at this thing, I'm like, this is for cutting off heads. All right, so how about that? Whoops, that was fucking loud. Let's see how well this stuff fits into the backpack, because this is now a dual thickness. And this will be the tail teller. Let's loosen up this guy. All right. Oh yeah, I think that'll fit in there nicely. So that means, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Nick? We got two things. We probably got like maybe a double cutout. Double rainbows. What does it mean? Okay, that is no longer useful. This can get out of the way here. Get to that later. And then the length of this, because I still have to put a water bag in this. Probably, well actually, no. So here's how this is going to go, is we want to put these two things in a Raspberry Pi in this. Oh my God, is that going to work out perfectly? Hell yes. Oh, that looks good. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. Sorry. Let's just tilt it so you can. Maybe you can't see it. Oh yeah, there you go. Dude, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'm just gonna pull this thing back here. Yeah, so here's what I've got right now. Here's the weather station, and it looks like it fits pretty well on this black foam piece. And so what I'm gonna do is mark out the height that it's gonna be, and then I can put a Raspberry Pi into the top. And as they say, Robert's your father's brother. So that should be pretty cool. You probably can't see any of this. What's the best way to do this? I mean, I probably go take this up to here and then bring you guys over here. I had all these big plans of that being super useful for you. Oh, for Christ's sake. You're thinking I'd be better with a tripod at this point, but it's still a struggle. There we go. Okay, I think. Oh yeah. Look at that handsome go. All right, I think that's pretty good. Cool. You guys can see kind of what's going on. This thing is not super janky. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Cool. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way. I've got my tool roll. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't think we're going to need this tomorrow because this thing should just work right away. And now we're going to, oh, there it is. Looking for this thing earlier. We're going to lay out what I think this thing's going to look like. So there's the bottom, and there's the cool way to do this. I'm just going to cut this straight through, and then I'll use this as the template. So, yeah, lessons learned from another life. Okay, so I think it's going to be something like this, that, and then this long cut here. And really, we're just getting this thing to not wobble too much. In fact, this is probably going to be a lot better than if I wrapped it up in whatever, like neoprene, which is what I usually do, or bubble wrap is the other one. Okay, I don't think you guys can see it that well, so let's see if I can switch this. Oops, sorry about that. And bring it down and over the top so you can see that. There's a lot of crazy shit going on here. Stand by. Okay, I think that like that will work pretty well. Oh, upside down. Crazy. Come on. Come on there, Mr. Tube of You. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. There we go. The 19th. Oh, these are all like old things. I wonder if I could just chuck it straight on a piece of steel. Oh yeah, that's hanging on a saw blade right there. All right, and while that is going, what we want this thing to come off a little bit. Oh. And do that, and then go straight down like that, and that should work pretty well. This will give you, it's just magneted right to that saw blade. This will give you a pretty good view of what's going on next. Yeah, I think that is the way to do it. Yeah, and then jack this thing up. Cool. God, it takes a lot of setup to do this. All right, so what I did was I took this guy and I drew it out. And I'm sure that's gonna look phallic to some of you. Was not intended to be that way. But there we are. And then this guy is going to get cut out next. And that looks like, and what I found on these is like, I always want to draw it, you know, super close. You know, to make it ultra tight so it doesn't jiggle. And then I found that most of the time I drew it too tight. There we go. And it jiggles like crazy. Cool. So there's that. And then here is where the pie is going to go in. And this one I will make pretty tight because I don't want this thing jiggling around at all. And I can always take off a little bit extra. Okay. And then I'll put that down somewhere. What do they say about like you're not supposed to have pies be dusty at all? Okay, so that part is all done. How am I going to do? Oh, I see this next part. Stand by, guys. I'm going to bring it over to the foam cutter, and then we're going to work on destroying my lungs for a second. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit shaky here for a hot second, but we'll get we're going to get where we're going. Oh, for Christ's sake. Cool. All right, now you can see the foam cutter, which is great. That is a super useful thing to have when you're doing this stuff. And I think, yeah, more or less right side up, upside down. I don't think it should be upside down for you guys. It doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do now is turn this guy on, get this out of the way. All of these are going to be freehand cuts, and we're going to get this thing set up so that it's working. All right, there is step one, and this guy's got to get plugged in, and that should do it. Yeah, it's working. Cool. All right, I think you can see this. Yeah, you can totally see that. Shit, yeah. All right, let's get the magic working here. How are we gonna do this? We'll do the pie first, and let's crank this sucker up to 6 because it's gonna be a thick old piece here. And I think I'm just gonna cut off the top entirely here. In fact, I'll just do with the big blade. A little bit easier deal to work with here. Cool. You guys can see it. All right, you got to be able to see that smoke. So what's happening is I don't think you can see the wire, but the wire is right there. The thing is red hot, and it's just cutting right through the foam. And so I'm cutting into where the pie outline is, and then whoops. Ooh, I got a little bit ahead of myself there. Forgot to go slow. There we go. Got to remember to go super slow in these things. Otherwise, the foam will actually bend the wire, and the wire will do what it's doing now, which is like these crazy cuts that are all over the place because I get so excited and try to go too fast. And it probably looks, I don't know how boring it looks from right there, but it's something that takes some pretty intense concentration. All right, so here's the pie. We're gonna come around the corner, and then the SD card is next. And what you can do, I don't know if you can see it, but you can take, you can get like super close on some of them, and that acts as a piece that pushes in on the rest of it. So even if the thing is pretty wiggly, which it is right now, as long as you've got a couple like holder or tight spots around it, then you're good to go. All right, you guys seeing all that? Oh my God, getting off there. Yeah. All right. We're almost done with the first cut, which is for the pie. Whoop. And there it is, and then I'll come out. Okay, and they say that that is not fucking great for your lungs, but there you go. There's our Raspberry Pi. And so what I want to do now is check that and make sure that the Pi fits in there, and it should. Whoops, it'll fit this way. Yeah, that's going to be okay. It's not going to be amazing, but it'll be okay. And then the next step there is getting this thickness correct. And to do that, I'm just going to set this guy up about right here. And this is totally not OSHA compliant, but yeah, there it is. What are you going to do? And I want this, I think I want this to be like that. And we'll blast through this, and we'll basically make it so that the Pi just kind of sits slightly down inside inside this piece here. So I'll glue all this stuff back together, but now this will live like, oh no, looks like this. It'll live in here, and it'll look like that. And maybe I think I took the wrong piece. Yeah, it should look more like this. So I don't know how well you can see that, but yep, there's a little cavity right there. It's flush on the back, and so the Pi will just live right in there. I may cut this down slightly just to get yeah, that piece out. But I think that's my start there. So that's the Pi cut out and done. The next piece we'll cut out is, dude, I'm gonna put on a mask. That shit is killing my throat. Hang on a sec. Yeah, that cannot be good for, can't be good for breathing in. All right, it's gonna be a little bit different now. We got a long cut to make, and what I'll do with this long cut is I'll put this thing down where you can see it a little bit better. Because it is kind of, I think it's kind of cool to see what it looks like as this thing is cutting. There we go. I'll try and make it so that you can see what is going on. Yeah, I think that'll do it right there. Cool. Yeah, that's good. All right, I'm gonna mask up here. I was maybe a little cavalier that first time, and that didn't go so well. I can feel the back of my throat's all scratchy. All right, let's see. Let's do the cutout for the solar panel, and we'll come in from right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but I guess it doesn't. I mean, it's not like it's fucking super important for you to see everything that I'm doing. But it would be cool. Let's see if I can get it out a little bit longer. Yeah, I think you can see that. Stand by. Let's get it down a little bit more. And then let me know if you can see this thing smoking and cutting. I think you can. But now it's like just following this silver line. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. Because it is kind of cool to share all this stuff with people, right? Like most of the time we're just kind of working by ourselves in the shop alone. And there's, I mean, God, there's a lot to be said for that. No one bugging you or telling you how to do things differently, letting you make your own mistakes. But also pretty cool just to share some of this rad stuff with you guys. So that's what's going on here. It's going to get a little bit boring here. Not for me. This thing, oh my God, I think I'm going too fast. And you go too fast in this thing, and the wire gets all out of whack. So I gotta go super slow and cruise through the whole thing.
Yeah. Tilt it up against something. Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, I gotta cut this whole thing freehand, and the wire is really thin. I think this cutter was like $150 on Amazon, and then the super nice one was 250. And I thought I was only gonna make a couple cuts, so I was like, I don't think it's worth the extra $100 to get the super nice one. And now I'm like, shit, I probably should have, but want what you want and get what you got. There we are. All right, now I did something silly, and I kind of got myself stuck against that far side over there. We're out of that one. And this thing has a, I don't know what the throat is on this thing, maybe 12 inches, and then a 6-inch height. So I mean, you're a little bit limited, and like now that I got into this, not that you can see it because I'm not really paying attention. It's not as straight as I'd like. But as I got into this, it's like, dude, this thing's so cool to cut all this stuff out and make these custom cut pieces. That's some pretty rad stuff. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just let these things kind of stick out a little bit, and not worry about cutting a second thickness. Although I think cutting a second thickness is probably the right thing to do. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Come on now. All right. Cool. So that is that piece out now, which is this thing right here. Yeah, so I will see if that thing fits inside. Let's see. Let's make it a little bit easier. Cool. So this should fit into this like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, actually, it's going to be a little bit tight, so I can probably take some of this off, which I'll do right now. And whoop. Yeah. And I think that'll fit in a little bit better. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cool. I like that. All right, so that's good there. And then the last one will be this big, long hog of a cut. The cutting out the giant phallic symbol. And let's see if I can make a slightly different angle for you guys there. I'm probably missing a couple of your chats, so if you put something in and I missed it because I was cutting, feel free to drop it in again, and I'll try and get it the second time. Let's see, there's the board, and we are, dude, I'm gonna put this to 6. Here we go. Not missing anything, all right. Coming in hot. This may be. Oh yeah, I mean, you guys can't see exactly the line, but you can see it moving around. And there we go, cutting that sucker out. This will be so cool when I get out in the mountain tomorrow and slide this thing out of the pack, and everything's in the right place and looking super sharp. I mean, there's a lot to be said for kind of, whoop, ought to be said for just making things like look sharp, and getting things. I think ship shape is probably the best way to say it. Is that it's obviously it's not just looks, like shit's got to work, but yeah, making things look ship shape. That's a pretty rad thing. I'm trying to pay attention to this hot wire and make sure it doesn't look too jank bank. And come in a little, follow the line, come around, watch that thing cut through nice and clean. Watch out for my hand there. Yeah. And what I'm going to do, I mean, I don't know. I think this thing is super cool. So I'm going to get you guys ultra close in on action here, or as close as I can get. And yeah, we're just going to cut the rest of this thing up and see how it goes. This, I know this isn't OnlyFans material. I don't think foam cutting is going to go super well over on the OnlyFans channel, but maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll be big. I was listening to this great interview with, I think the lady's name is Amaranth. It's on My First Million podcast. And she's got, it's like some crazy amount, $30 million a year she makes on OnlyFans. It's crazy. And she's a hustler. She's working super hard. And when they asked her, I got myself in a pickle here. When they asked her, like, what do you want to do? She's like, man, I'd like to just like ride my horses more and hang out with my dogs, stream a little bit less, like grind less hard. And it makes you realize, like, people at the top work super fucking hard. I mean, I think I'm at just above the pond scum layer, and I'm working my ass off here. So folks who are up higher are probably working ultra hard. Or I think the other thing is that everybody's probably working pretty hard. Like, everybody who's actually trying, right, is probably working at about the same, I don't know, like tempo or output. No, not output. At the same tempo, like the same amount of effort, right? So I'm putting in hard work, what I think is hard work, and someone else is putting in what they think is hard work. And then we have a different, outcome because of whatever industry that we're in. And maybe like how smart we work. I think one of the things I've looked at in the past couple days is in 2022, I've started so many projects and I finished so few of them. And it really made me think, like, man, I got all these projects, I got all these sensors coming in. I got super excited the other day and bought a bunch of sensors and had them all shipped to the shop, and they're all coming in. I'm psyched on them. And I realized, like, dude, I got to finish the projects I've got. Like, this thing here, this weather station is not a helium project, but getting this hotspot back up and running. Whoop, careful there, Nick. Getting this hotspot back up and running. Whoops. What did I just do? Yeah, getting this hotspot back up and running. Probably take this off now.
Is like part of the people counter project that I've been meaning to get that thing, or I've been trying to get that thing finished forever. And one of the really tough parts of it was getting the people counters themselves to work, right? Like, I got the grant for that in, when was that? March or April, and I was supposed to have that sucker finished midsummer, and here we are, December. Giant failure on my part to get that thing executed well. Like, I thought it was gonna be way easier for me than it was. And so it just made me think the past couple days, like, hey, I got to pay more attention to finishing the projects I start, to being kind of clear about what the level of commitment is on a lot of these projects. When I get into it, that's kind of ugly, but we're going to fix all that with a glue gun. Yeah, and then just like finishing off the commitments. That's the deal. It's not shit's not magic. It's not a miracle. All right, we're gonna do glue gun stuff now and get these things fitted in. And yeah, let's see if we can get this is just, maybe if get to be a big YouTuber someday, I'll have one of those rad articulated arms, and you just move that thing around like, hey, right here is where you want it. But maybe what happens with those guys, they've just got like an actual cameraman. And it's not just a dude in his garage doing all the adjusting. There's someone kind of following him around and making it, oh, you cocksucker, making it work a lot better. So maybe that's it. I think you can see most of that stuff. Actually, I bet the angle's better from the other side. That's probably where the more better shot is from, and that'll be better for you guys to see all that stuff. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a little bit nicer. There you go. Cool. Yeah, I think that looks good. Cool. And you can see what's going on. All right, where is the glue gun? Let's get that sucker up and running. So we gotta glue all these holes back together, and it does take a hot minute for this thing to warm up. All right, what can come out here? Fan. Not gonna use the fan right now. We're gonna just plug it in. We'll let that thing warm up there, and then we're just gonna double check these things all look good. Look good, fit pretty. Okay, so this guy goes in here like that. Yep, that looks good, fits pretty. This guy goes in here. Oof. And that is a little on the loose side. What am I gonna do there? And then I know that my pie is gonna go in here, and I think I was gonna cut that. I think I was gonna cut that a little bit smaller. Because that's gonna sit right there. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna cut this guy smaller. Take a slice off of this sucker over here. Yeah, so I don't know where you guys are at the end of the year as we kind of come into the last bits of 2022, but I'm thinking there's maybe a lot more I could have done this year and accomplished. Like started less projects and finished more projects. I think that would have been the total of the way to do it. But maybe that's your thing. You just gotta learn that shit. Learn by doing. That looks pretty good. I don't think that's going anywhere. And I think once I get this glued up, I will use this as a template, and I'll cut out another piece, and I can cut that other piece out right now, and then I'll put that on top of this, and between all of that stuff, that'll end up being super good. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so stage one is to cut another 10-inch piece off this guy. Where is the silver pen? Yeah. What did I miss, guys? What do you want to hear about? What y'all talking about now? Okay, this is gonna go over here. Cut off this side. Actually, interesting. This could be maybe way shorter. And maybe your thing is not like I don't know. People don't give a fuck about helium. Maybe that's the truth. Like, and it's not just there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's my other thought, is that I think helium is almost like, I'd like to cut this so you can see it, but I think helium is almost like, it's like a monster that came up out of the deep and like reared its head above the waters, and people saw it and they're like, oh my god, monster awesome, and sold tickets to it and made a bunch of money and all that. And it's like one of those like civilizations out of an old Jules Verne novel where it just goes back underwater. And it's like, yep, fuck this, I'm just gonna like do my own thing. And it will continue to exist. And oh, come on now. It'll continue to exist. It'll get used, and not a bunch of people, a small amount of people will make a boatload of money off of it, just because they stuck with it. They kind of figured out how it worked and all that, all the usual stuff there. But most people are gonna say, like, fuck it, you know, it's not making me Lambo money. I'm out, and I think that's okay. But that's kind of my other hypothesis about what's going to happen with helium. And this, it's like this monster rearing its head and like sinking back down under the waves, in the sense that it's pretty deep tech, right? Then there's this thing I've heard a lot of these Silicon Valley guys say about, you know, that they talk about deep tech, and at first I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? But it's really like it's the technology that allows our world to exist, that most people take for granted. They're just like, oh yeah, that's of course like an iPhone works. And then you think about like, dude, how many people in the world understand everything about an iPhone? Fucking zero. Nobody gets it. You know, nobody understands the whole thing. There's people that like understand parts of it. I mean, maybe there's a couple people that understand the entirety from soup to nuts, from manufacturing to wherever it finishes up. And that's something that everybody uses all the time, every day, whether it's an iPhone or something else. So, yeah. Curious to see how the whole thing plays out, goes down. So I think that's pretty interesting. All right, I'm guessing the glue is now hot enough. That is an important part right there. And we can glue all this stuff together. This is oh, that's kind of the fun part. Nothing super crazy about it. It's just hot glue. Just hot glue that you hold there for a hot second. Yeah, nothing fancy there. But let's see. I think there's a zero people watching for Watch Me. That's some of you are brand new to this stream. And so what I've been doing is I've been cutting out all this foam. I'm heading into one of my mountaintop deployments tomorrow to replace the Pi because the SD card burned out. I went in there. I wasn't sure what it was, so I pulled the whole Raspberry Pi out, pulled the whole hotspot out. It's just a packet forwarder, so it's off of the early DIY program, which is now closed. Brought it back, kind of figured out what was going on, got some help with it, and then now I'm gonna, now that I figured out what it was, replace the SD card, and now I'm gonna go back in and set the thing up. All right, that thing is now good to go. Let's do this part here. And it's funny with these, like, as you get down to the last couple of cuts, it gets harder and harder to put all the glue in. So this goes here. And this glue is super hot when it first hits. I burned my hands in this hot glue. Like, anyone who's worked with hot glue has burned their hands on hot glue before. So that's what's going on here. You want to wipe off this little, I don't know if you can see this little like goober right here, but man, you wipe that off too early and the thumb's burnt. Wouldn't stop me from trying. Oh, hot. My little nephew would say, hot. Cool, those two are good. And then we got one more to glue in. And that should be enough for this. Let's see. How do we do that? sucker on there. Ooh, there's that hot glue hitting my hands. Right on. So, that's what we want. All that glue is on there. We've got all these pieces cut out. That's looking pretty good. And before I do, before I glue this thing in, I'm going to cut out the, I'm going to use this as a template for the next piece of this guy. So, let's put this on here, and it will be close enough there. And we'll see what we need to work with. The weather station's going off right now. Like if you looked at, you know, the temperature, you're going to see that it's whatever it is in the garage here, 50 degrees or something. It's getting cold at night here in San Diego, or at least what we consider cold. You know, cold if you're wearing shorts. But yeah, it's always kind of funny to me. Like these weather stations don't know where they are. So I don't know what that is. Like I think there's gonna come a time when all these devices are actually smart and they know where they are and they know what they're doing and they know why they're telling you what they're telling you, and there's a very different world existing. But until that time, they just kind of sit there and spit out their information. It reminded me because I saw the blue light on the thing, just firing, and it's like, oh, that weather station. Who knows? Like who knows if it thinks or doesn't think? That's another thing. I think that we're gonna come to a time where we're gonna be like, God, we really did not treat machines well. In the same way that, you know, you get to the animal rights people right now and they're like, oh, you're savages on animals, and there's a fair amount of truth in that. Animals have not been treated super well by humans for most of our shared history. I think that's everything. Yep. I think we're gonna think the same thing about machines. All right, let's get this thing in here where you can see the other side of what's going on. Drop this guy down. All right, cool. So I'm not sure how much of that you're going to be able to get into the action on, but I'll be cutting right here. I'll say this: I'm going to put the mask on again because that thing was crushing my throat before. All right, there we go. Come on. I'm getting there, bugs. Lee's calling me to eat, so I may have some limited time on this stream left. This is like a story every evening for me. Come out here to the garage and working away, like crushing it, and then it's time to eat. I almost feel like a grown-up kid. Come on. Yeah, I almost feel like a grown-up kid. It's like, hey, you gotta go eat. And I get this amazingly good life. Come on. Yeah.
kind of weird here. Okay, so we can have that. Alright, nice job.
Cool. That's the second part cut out for this thing. And now we'll go back and do some cleanup on this. Get this last piece sorted out. There we go. Yeah, you can see what's going on there. Okay, so we got that part on. There we go, all that stuff together. And it should give us pretty good setup. That's right, I forgot. You don't want these things to be too thin. There you go, like nice and clean. There you go. There's this little glue joint here. You can't even, I don't think you can see it. That's right. Right there, you can see that a little bit better. Glue this thing back together. And then got 2 more glue pieces to hit. Gotta be patient with that thing dry. Yeah, that's the deal. That's what's going on. Getting this thing prepped for tomorrow. Thinking about the past year and what I did right, what I did wrong, what I think I can do better in 2023. Which, yeah, I think it comes down to start fewer projects and finish more projects, and that will be a giant win. Recommend that one. Start fewer projects, finish more. Maybe I'll do that as a t-shirt. I don't know, let's see. You can see, yeah, you can definitely see that one right there. But now I got the cutouts done. Got all of the stuff ready to glue up. And I think we're looking pretty good. What I might do is let's see, I probably should have cut. Ooh, I totally should have cut this thing in half before I did it. And now I'm gonna have to cut another slice out and make that like a thin piece. I'll have to cut one of these. Damn it. I should have thought that through better before I did it. I was so excited to cut this shit, but I didn't. Okay, but in any event, what we got is this, and these fit into this now pretty nicely. Alright, that goes down into there. That's not going anywhere. This goes down here. Weather station's not going anywhere. And then the Raspberry Pi is actually a full thing right here. That's not going anywhere. And I think that's a pretty. Hey there, little spider. What are you doing, dude? You can't be hanging out there. You're gonna get fucked up, dog. Let's get you off the X there. Yeah. We want spiders around there. Useful animals. Come on, but don't go hiding in that thing. You're just gonna get squashed. Nobody wants that. Yeah. So there's the setup. Everything's in there pretty nicely. You can see the back side of it too. There you are. Come on out, dude. Come on out, little buddy. Yeah, I'm pretty psyched on that. I think what I'll do is I'll glue this together. I don't think I need to put any cover on this. It's gonna go sit in the. Yeah, it's just gonna sit in that backpack. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put a cover on, like cut half it off and make it look nice. I think that's the way to do it. How am I going to do the half cut without just fucking things up? Let's see, this can go here. And my little spider grabber. There's that piece. Alright, so you ready to come out, buddy? Hopefully you're not going to get Squashed in here. No, there you are. You made it through. Way to go, boss. Look at this little guy. Yeah, this is a key part of our... Come on, dude. Get off. Go hunt bugs. Go do badass stuff. There you go. You're in the right place. Go forth and multiply. Holy shit, that thing disappeared fast. Fucking spiders are around. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to cut one of these in half. And I think if I'm just kind of halfway careful, I can go right in the center here. And even if it's not perfect, it's still pretty darn good. Yeah, it won't be the most beautiful cut you've ever seen, but it's going to be enough to make it so that everything stays cushioned, which is a critical factor. Ooh, you just got away with that, didn't you? You thought you were not going to get cut in half. It's going to happen. There we go, cool. Which one do I want? This one, this one, this one. Okay, this one is there. We've already pulled that guy out. This one is going to go like that. Yep. And then that looks super nice. And then the last thing to do is cut a 10-inch piece here. Make it like a nice cut. There's a silver. If you have any questions that you're watching, there's only one of you watching, so I feel like, hey, I'll leave this thing rolling, but I don't really expect you to have a ton of questions. If you're watching at this point, you're stoked on something. Yes. I will cut this guy right down here. And that will be pretty much the last of this foam. Which is ooh, did not mean to do that. That's what we're going to do. This guy right there. And let's see how we're looking here. So two pieces. Yeah, Hack, Peter, if you watch this, I've been thinking about what you said about raising teenage kids and how you kind of seen one of everything, and it's just a pretty crazy thing to see and do. And I thought that was pretty honorable of you to do that. I think it's a cool thing. Yeah, I think, yeah, just something rad to see somebody do is take care of a bunch of kids, dude. Good on you. Let's see if I can pull this thing out. Yeah. All right. What have we got? Glue guns. These things. Okay, so we're gonna do. This is kind of next here. I think this is how I want to do it. Yeah, definitely is. So that is getting in. That's what's getting in. Just put this guy on here. What do we need? Knife. Nice. I'm not going to worry a ton about super clean cuts. This part is the most important part. Let's see how we can do this. Shit. All right, I think that is probably good. Cool. All right, I think that's enough. Let's see. You guys want to see you guys, the one that's left that managed to come in at the end of this thing. There is the final piece. This is a weather station here, and this is the actually the kind of box and the solar panel for that station. And then there is a Raspberry Pi that's going to go in there, and the whole thing is going to go into a backpack. I'm carrying that thing into the mountain tomorrow. So that's the deal. Rock and roll. Thanks for watching. I'm out.